with the Bankers Association to address what we would describe as a chronic problem in Bermuda as it relates to cybercrime breaches. Just in 2024, approximately $4.5 million is the estimated loss incurred by scam victims. The total number of identified scam victims in 2024 is approximately 162, and the number of individuals who reported receiving scams or scam calls is approximately 250. Those are the numbers that the Bermuda Police Service received in 2024. In 2025, to date, there have been 2 victims that have been reported to the police, and they have lost anywhere in the region of $100,000. The Bermuda Police Service, in its efforts to continue to advise the public in these scams, is pleased today to announce that we are collaborating with the Bankers Association. And with me today is Mr. Jeff Scott.
Thank you very much, Detective Superintendent Smith. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks to everybody for joining, and thank you, members of the media, for being here as well. The announcement today is that we are forming a very willing alliance, a partnership between the Bermuda Bankers Association and the Bermuda Police Service. And as has been mentioned, the purpose of this is really to build awareness in Bermuda locally about what is really a global problem, and that's the problem of financial crime. Financial crime is worldwide, but you may not feel that in Bermuda because often scammers and fraudsters are trying to sound like they're Bermudian. They're trying to sound like they're calling from the local bank, they're calling from the utility. They could be calling from a government office or even a regulator. So they try to sound local, but this is actually a global problem. So I want the importance of that is to know that this is not just something unique to Bermuda. What's really important right now is that we talk about it, and over time, and certainly now with this partnership with the police service, we will be able to communicate very regularly, giving very up-to-date information. What types of scams are out there? What types of frauds are people trying to pull in Bermuda? What's the point of that? It's not to scare you. It's actually the opposite. It's to arm you with information. It's to allow you to protect yourself. And with those protections, with some of the tools, the resources, and the advice that we can offer from the Bankers Association, you're able to actually be prepared, take measures so that it's hard for fraudsters to actually get to you. There is a lot of knowledge inside Bermuda's banks. My organization, the Bankers Association, represents the 4 local banks here in Bermuda. Each of them have information available to their customers. They have products, they have services, they have tools and tips that you can sign up for on their websites or using their online platforms, for example. But also, on top of that, through the Bankers Association, we're now putting information available on our own website. BBA has a website called bermudabankers.org. And if you go there, you will be able to look at consumers and businesses and find some tips and some fact sheets that start to talk about what we're talking about now, which is financial crime and how to be aware and prevent financial crime, steps you can take. Throughout the course of the year, and we plan to add more partners to this partnership. I see us partnering also with the social services agencies to deliver messages to senior citizens and other vulnerable communities. Saying that, though, I also want to note that this is not a problem now just for the vulnerable in our society. Fraudsters are smart enough now. These global organized crime initiatives are actually targeting the average person in Bermuda. You don't have to be a vulnerable person. You can be an average person, and you will get messages that you might believe are coming in. So we will be working with social services groups and agencies around the island to get specific messages to vulnerable groups and specific groups, and also using the tools like our website to distribute current information, all of that designed to benefit people, and also, frankly, to help the effort in combating what people may see right now as Bermuda being a bit of a ripe market for targeting. So I want to thank again, Jason, thank you very much for your partnership on this. You can expect to see very much engagement from the Bankers Association, and I look forward to furthering. We will probably do more press releases as well as press conferences.
Yes.
I should just say that we're here at Clarion Bank offices this afternoon. Clarion, we have a rotating chair of the Bankers Association. This year, Clarion is actually the chair of the Bankers Association, which is why we're here. So I'd like to thank them for the facilities. Thank you again, members of the media, for attending. Appreciate your interest. We're happy to take questions if you have any.
Okay, my name is Albert Solomon. I'm from the victims, the seniors have been receiving reports from the police that seniors are being targeted. Is there like some way that the two bodies, the police and the Bankers Association, can do more in terms of outreaches to get the message across to everyone in the area, especially the seniors?
Yes, and what we would say is that from our reporting, there's a large population of those who become victims of seniors. And what is unfortunate about that is that we have had reports where, as a result of seniors engaging with these bad actors and giving out their personal information, that in some cases their entire bank accounts have been wiped clean. So that means that their pension is gone. But equally, what we're seeing is, in particular the last couple of months, that some of the victims are sort of widespread throughout the community. So it's not just seniors, but it's also those sort of middle-age groups, in particular between the 30-year-old age bracket and up, and it's just a cross section of the community. So we are definitely seeing a lot more of that, and the ages are almost evenly distributed. In fact, some of the ways in which people are being scammed is obviously the most common things are things like phishing. Those phone calls. We're talking about as well smishing, which is text messaging scams that are coming in. Phishing, which is where the fraudster phones you and tries to trick you into disclosing your private information. And advanced free fraud, romance fraud, and of course the small business. So that's why I said throughout the entire community, we're beginning to see where these fraudsters are not only becoming more bold in their attempts, but targeting more of a cross-border of the community in terms of age.
Yeah, I would just add to that to say, and I think that's exactly right. The net is definitely being cast wider now. Seniors were always a bit more vulnerable because of, let's say, they haven't been living with technology except in the later part of their life. But now right down to even scams that target through social media, targeting teens and that group up to the 30-year-olds. Even there now, we're starting to hear stories of attempted, as people are very comfortable with technology, the risk is the other side, which is you're a bit too casual with giving out your information online. So it could be the frequency of online shopping for some people now. You're quite comfortable putting your credit card into a website. What we would say from the Bankers Association is continue to be comfortable online shopping. Absolutely, these are conveniences that are there, but understand the website is asking for your credit card before you put the information in. Make sure it's a trusted, verified, secure site, for instance. So I think that the important thing about financial crime that we're talking about here is whatever the target group is, the goal is to get access to your bank account. So the very first thing that everyone, I hope, will be thinking about constantly now is just ask yourself, when somebody's asking me for some kind of information, could that lead them to my bank account? And if so, don't give it out. Be skeptical, be hesitant. Even if it's your bank who you think is calling you, your bank will never phone you and ask you for information about your bank account. They already have that information. They don't need to ask you. So if you call them, they will ask for verification information. But when the bank calls you, they will never phone you and ask you for any piece of information, not even your debit card or credit card number. And that's an important rule of thumb. So with these basic tools and tips, and we'll be putting, I mean, a lot of this is already on our website and on the websites of our members, the banks, but constantly refreshing yourself and thinking critically, a little bit more skeptically about these, then that means whether you're a senior or a very young person who's been using technology since you were born, you will have the right frame of mind to think about and be aware of these crime attempts.
Okay, from the police perspective, do you recall any particular incident that was very unique to these sort of crimes? And you could recall that even us as smart people would be thinking second, this is probably a fraud.
Yeah, so I mean, when we talk about the phishing as an example, in fact, just this morning, there was an email that was being circulated about your pension and asking you for information about your pension, saying that there was an issue with your pension. They wanted your bank account information to make some deposits. We've also seen where emails coming through purporting to be from a particular bank. But if you read through the email, you begin to, if you just take a little bit of time, you begin to see that this is not genuine, because there's often those spelling errors. So, it starts out good, but then as it gets a little further down, you begin to see spelling errors. You see the bad grammar, that type of thing. And if you think about it, for some of our victims who have fallen, scam to victims of these scams, oftentimes, they're reacting too quick. So they see an email that pops up and they're addressing it right away, not really taking the time to read through it. And so by time they realize it's a scam, it sometimes might be too late because they've given out that information. So I think all part of the awareness program is that where you are receiving those types of emails, and I mean, that's to your question, that's where we're seeing where some of these scammers, I mean, they're very bold, and it could be a bit confusing. But if you just sort of slow down the pace, just think about it first, read through it, and as Jeff said, that ask questions, be skeptical, because oftentimes when you slow down the pace and you look at it a little differently, you begin to read through, you can see those errors, which hopefully should raise, your alarm bells and encourage you to, not respond, not hang up the phone. And as Jeff said, never give out your banking information. So we certainly see that the scammers are becoming very tactical, and even just through the, phone calls, where, sometimes they're replicating persons' voices through AI and face imagery. So it's certainly getting more tactical, which calls for us as citizens just to be a bit more vigilant, because it is truly impacting the wider community.
Okay, there was a recent police training that was done in collaboration with the Secret Service. Are there initiatives, like for instance, training sessions that could be done collaboratively between bankers, institution, and the police, and the other parties to zoom in more on the issue and address it more impactful?
Well, as I said earlier, and this is the purpose that we're here, is that we recognize that we are really we have a chronic problem. And so the information to get out to the community is important. From the police perspective, we have recently met with a seniors group where some of the members of our financial crime unit, met with that group to give them advice. The Bermuda Police Service, you will see from time to time, will often put out advisories. But then today, and this is the importance of this today, and I think it's somewhat historic, that we as the police, partnering with the local banks to address this chronic problem that we see, because it's impacting so many lives within our community. And we're doing all that we can to keep our community safe from the police perspective. And of course, as Jeff has said, from the bank perspective, they're working to keep their customers informed. so that we don't have more people becoming victims of scams?
We're taking this really, really seriously. I mean, I think you should interpret the fact that we show up together at a press conference to be a signal that the banks are taking this very, very seriously. It is a crime problem, and for the police service, that poses certain challenges and things that they need to be doing. From the bank's perspective, it is the information that we have is what these fraudsters are after. And it's incumbent on us to make sure that our customers have as much access to the tools and the services and resources. I will tell you that within the banks, we've got experts as well, experts that get the same type of international training on fraud, on scams, on cyber technology threats, and the range. Our bankers are actually trained on all of that, sometimes internationally as well, like the police service. And really what we're trying to do here is by appearing together, we're showing a combined force that is the business community and the police service at the same time tackling one problem. It affects both of us very, very seriously. But the good news is that we're also not trying to raise an alarm bell that scares people. There are tools available. There are, in most cases, things that people can build into their routines, and it won't be seen as being a major inconvenience to you to take precautions. In some ways, I think about it the same way that you might have a fire extinguisher in your house, or if you're a business, you might have certain protections like security around your business premise. Once you are aware of what's out there and how to use those tools, they kind of become part of your life, and that's really what we're trying to promote. So. Thank you. Good question.
Okay, thank you.
So with that, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Wish everybody a good